Welcome back my gentle people, this is Corner Stories and today we have 3 friendship and relationship stories and they all come with updates. So let's get into it and I hope you enjoy. I, 21M, asked my friend, 21F, to be FWB and now she won't talk to me plus update I met this girl 2 years ago as my lab partner for one of my classes. We became friends, eating dinner together after class and studying together. We've continued to take the same classes but I don't see her as often one-on-one because we joined an informal study group with other people from our class. Recently, she's been more open than usual, getting closer to me when we're working on a problem together and being more chatty flirty. She and I are both single and have been for a while. I thought that she was interested in me and I decided to take a shot in the dark. I pulled her aside after a study session last week and once everyone else had left I brought up how we're both single and asked if she wanted to be friends with benefits. She asked what I meant and I said that we could hook up sometimes and otherwise keep things the same and still be friends. She said that she really isn't interested in that and that she doesn't see me that way. I just said, "Oh, okay. See you tomorrow then," and left. I'm hurt that I got rejected but at the time I was still glad that I had been brave enough to go through with it. I knew it was going to be awkward with her for a few days but it's been a lot worse than that. At the study sessions she sits at the other side of the table from where she used to. She only works with other people in the group and doesn't even glance at me except if I directly ask her a question. Yesterday, I tried to walk alongside her as she left the study session and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, how's it going?" She said that she didn't want to talk and that she feels weird about me. I left her alone after that but I'm crushed. I understand why she's mad at me and I know it's all my fault. I was incredibly stupid and I don't know if I can undo what I did. I thought if she said no she would just tease me a little and leave it at that but I understand that what I said really hurt her. Is there any way I can get her to be friends with me again? Should I apologize and if so how should I word it? I really don't want to lose her as a friend. Commenters tell OP that he massively messed up the girl by approaching her the way he did. He could have had a chance if he asked her out in a date first instead of straight up asking her to have intimacy with him. They tell OP that the girl probably feels like he just sees her as an sexual object instead of actually as a friend. OP says, "I understand that's how I came across, but that's not what I feel. I value her as a friend independent of how I see her sexually. What can I say so that she knows I still like her as a person?" Commenters tell OP that it's too late and she sees him in a complete different light now. Update: so I took the advice in the original post advice and didn't say anything further to her. Last night she sent me a text telling me she doesn't think she can be friends with me anymore. She said that what I did made her very uncomfortable and that she's not attracted to me and doesn't know what made me ask her that. She told me to leave her alone and to not talk to her at the study sessions. I didn't reply to that and I'm not going to today's study session. I feel ashamed and embarrassed at what I did, but I'm also very hurt that this happened. I'm upset that she's throwing away our friendship over this even though I know I shouldn't have asked her that. I also think she's been telling other people what happened. In my first class this morning this random girl who sits near me said, "Did you really ask, friend's name, to hook up with you?" I asked where she heard that and she just told me to stay away from, friend's name. I'm afraid of how many other people she might have told, which is partly why I don't want to go the study session today in case she's told them. I also got a text later from an unrecognized number saying, "You're a creep." I blocked that number but I'm feeling very uneasy. This situation has been stressful for both of us, so I don't know why she's making it worse by telling people about it. We've both suffered enough already and would be better off if we just move on. I'm still devastated at losing her as a friend and at being rejected so I just want to lick my wounds and slowly get over it. To be clear, I accept that I've lost her as a friend and that this was my fault for being so stupid. But I feel that she's gone too far by airing our dirty laundry when this should really be kept as a private matter between us. I'm also worried that I won't have a chance with other girls at our college if they hear about this. Is there anything I should do about the story spreading, and if so, what do I do? Should I say anything to her? There's a lot of things happening at once and I'm confused as to what I should do. Commenters keep asking why OP approached the girl the way he did and why not just ask her on a date. OP says, "I thought for the last month or so that she was into me and I was pretty sure of it, so that's why I was so forward. That's no excuse for my behavior but that's what was going through my head. I didn't want to date her at least at first so I didn't think about asking for a date. That would have been the better move but she would have shot me down anyways so I guess it doesn't matter. And, I've always thought that date equals relationship. No, it's never worked before but she was my only female friend so it's not like I would try that on some random girl." Commenters ask why OP wouldn't want a relationship. OP says, I might have wanted that eventually, but I wanted to test out how well we'd work together as FWB first. I'm not really a relationship type of guy, so I can't just jump into that out of nowhere. I didn't want to be tied to someone immediately like that. And, I haven't had a relationship, but I wouldn't be able to hook up with other girls if I was in one, and it's too serious for me to just jump into that. OP feels that he should face no repercussions and whines, but I don't understand what she gains from telling people about it. I'm going to be a better person and not do this again, but it isn't going to help if everybody knows what I did. I won't say anything to her, but I wish she would just let it go. Commenters tell OP he deserves the reactions he is getting from the wider friend circle and that the girl is warning other girls of his behavior and general creepiness. OP states, I feel awful that I made her feel bad, but given my situation all I can think about right now is how to get through this. I wanted to test the waters and maybe go from FWB into a relationship if it went well. I was an idiot for thinking that, but that's what my thoughts were at the time. She won't talk to me anymore, but I empathize with how she's feeling and wish I had never said that to her. But why is it wrong to be concerned about my chances with other girls? I'm genuinely trying to learn from this, and I understand everything you've said except this part. It seems like a natural thing to be worried about, but I understand I have to learn from this and change myself to be better. And keeps trying to be the victim, would just from her reaction alone. I don't think it's okay for other people to hear about a private matter, but I understand why she's doing it. Since OP keeps insisting the girl telling other girls about his actions is ruining his chances with these other girls, some commenters are confident that OP has never had any experience with other women before. OP confirms, I haven't had sex, but I took a girl to prom in high school. After so many commenters telling OP how and where he went wrong, OP still makes the whole thing about himself and still doesn't get it. OP says, yes, I know that, but she could have kept my name anonymous and still gotten support by explaining the situation to her friends. That's not what happened, and I know I deserve it, but I still don't like having random people confronting me about this. Story 2. AITA for telling my friend that I think his girlfriend is about to leave him. I, 30, am friends with Ruby, F30, and Tom, M31. We met at uni and were part of the same group of friends. They got together in our final year. After uni, Tom and I started work. Ruby did masters while working. Her and Tom moved in together. After masters, Ruby landed a very good job and Tom decided to quit his. Apparently, she wasn't happy but let it go. Ruby and I were best friends, but after graduation she became boring. While me and Tom would have a drink or two in their garden, she would study or work and drifted apart. Recently, Ruby has been more distanced. When I come over and Tom and I sit in the garden, she doesn't even join us, she does her own stuff. She barely acknowledges us, but Tom doesn't see an issue. I tried to tell him, but he said it's fine, at least she doesn't bother him while gaming anymore. She's lost a lot of weight lately, she's gained it because of her thyroid, and has just been focusing on herself. I tried inviting her to have a drink with us, but she always refuses. Frankly, I think she's taken adulting way too seriously. Last Saturday, I was out with some friends and were doing a pub crawl. At one, I noticed Ruby having a drink with her friends. I didn't know she had any, and she was her old self, laughing, having fun, cracking jokes. She was the life of a party. I didn't know any of these people and I suspected Tom didn't either. I texted Tom and he said he's busy with a game and we'll talk later. I couldn't let it go. She went outside with her friend and I followed them. It was crowded so she didn't notice me and I kind of eavesdropped on them. That I was lucky because they're talking about her plans and it seems that she's planning on leaving Tom. She's sick of him not working and ignoring her but been stuck because he doesn't work. She saved money for herself and saved a few months' money for him so when she leaves, he can have money to live off. I couldn't believe my ears. What a BTCH. She said she's got her ticket and house sorted, but she saw me before saying more. She looked at me with disgust, didn't even acknowledge me, and she switched to another language with her friend. I got a taxi and went straight to Tom's telling him what I hear. He told me to stop being silly. I told him that he should consider what to do so she stays and he said she has no reason to leave. We played some games and got a bit more drunk. I stayed on their sofa and didn't know when Ruby came home. I was woken up by Ruby at 2 p.m., and she called me an asshole amongst other names, kicked me out of the house, telling me to never come again. She was pissed because Tom confronted her about leaving. She told me to not meddle and I told her he has a right to know if she's going to leave and has a chance to make things right. Was I really in her wrong for telling him? I mean, we used to be friends but I don't think I have any obligation to her, but I am not sure. Am I really the asshole for warning him? I thought he deserved that. Update, shit has hit the fan. Last night, Tom knocked on my door crying, she kicked him out. They were talking and he was beginning for her to stay, he offered to find a part-time job and do more around the house but she wouldn't listen to him and didn't care that he wanted to try. She said she's leaving in 2 weeks' time. He asked where and if they could meet and work on things while living separately but she's moving abroad. She asked him to go and stay someplace else while she is packing and he can move back in once she leaves. She told him she had money saved up for him so he'll have time to find job. He asked her if he could get them now since he has to go someplace else to stay and she said absolutely not. She also said that because of that, him asking her, she wasn't going to give him money for 6 months as she initially planned but only for 3 months because he only cares about money. So he is not staying at mine because he doesn't have money to stay elsewhere for 2 weeks and she wouldn't even give him a penny. He has his debit card, they had a joint account and she had a separate one, but she's transferred all but £100. That's all he has for 2 weeks. As you can see, she's not the saint you guys make her up to be. Tom is heartbroken and all she cares about is money and her move. She doesn't care how he feels or if he has a place to stay for the 2 weeks. Some funny comments, because this OP is wild if she thinks Tom is some kind of victim. Really kind of love how OP thinks the update made Ruby look worse in any way. Bless her little heart. Bless her cold uncaring heart indeed. So funny that OP thought that Ruby supporting and housing Tom was all right and just, but when Tom now needs a place to stay because he's homeless and jobless, OP is like, no dude, you definitely can't stay here because you have no money. The irony is delicious. I have a strong suspicion that Tom is OP and he invented this friend to try and garner more sympathy. That would actually make so much sense. More sense than 2 people being so embarrassingly, devastatingly clueless and entitled. Story 3. Background: our parents have known each other since before we were born. My parents moved across the street from her parents. Her mom baked my mom and dad a cake and they've been friends ever since. They even got pregnant around the same time and gave birth a few months apart. Tori and I literally grew up together and have always been close. We were inseparable as kids and have always called each other sisters. Freshman year of high school, her dad got a job opportunity and they ended up moving to Cali. We were in Ohio at the time so it was kind of hard to maintain a long-distance friendship because of the time difference and everything that was going on in our lives, but we still remained close, alternating visiting each other during our summer breaks. We applied and got into the same college after high school so we were finally reunited at college as we dormed together. Things were perfect. Present day, we are both married to our husbands. We live in the same town. Our husbands are best friends as well. Due to this COVID pandemic, I was laid off from my telemarketing job. It was fine at first because my husband was able to pick up a few extra shifts and maintain our household, but his overtime started getting cut so now we were only living off of one income and have had to use our savings to pay a few bills. As of recently, I've been looking for a new job and it's been hard because no one has been hiring. Tori and I get together once every other week for drinks. I mentioned to her that I was having a hard time job searching and she suggested that I apply at her job and that she would put in a good word for me and I'd be hired. We talked about how fun it would be to work together. Tori is in a similar field as I was. Not exactly the same, but she said that I'd have no problem getting in and that they'd train me for whatever I didn't know. Later that week, I applied and was called a few days later for a phone interview. We went over my application and she asked how I was referred to the job. I mentioned Tori and she genuinely sounded excited and bragged about what a great employee Tori is and how if she was referring me, I'd probably be a perfect fit. We finished up the phone interview and she said that she would ask Tori a few follow-up questions but that the job was pretty much mine and to be expecting a call back by a certain day. I texted Tori telling her how things went and thanking her immensely. However, the day came that I was supposed to hear something back and I haven't heard anything. At Tori and I's get-together, I asked her if her boss ever asked her about me and Tori said no and that she would let me know if she did. 2 more weeks passed and still no word. I asked Tori again and all she said was that they decided to hire someone else because they had more experience, so I dropped it after that. A month later and I am finally back working and my husband and I are getting back on our feet. I suggested that we invite Tori and her husband over for dinner and my husband immediately said no. I've noticed that my husband and her husband haven't been talking. I asked him about it and he brushed it off. I asked Tori about it at our get-together and she brushed it off as well. However, I knew that was odd as they talked almost daily and got together weekly for beer and poker with a few other friends and that hasn't been happening either. I decided to press the issue more with my husband and he finally broke down and said that the reason why him and Matt weren't speaking was because of Tori. He explained that the job Tori said she would speak up for me to get, she actually did the opposite. I asked what he meant and he explained that her boss actually did ask Tori about me, and she said a few things to deter her from hiring me. I asked why he kept this from me for so long and he said it was better that I didn't know because he didn't want to ruin our friendship. Matt actually told him what Tori did and he told Matt to tell Tori to do the right thing. They got into an argument and that's why they weren't speaking. I called Tori and she admitted that my husband was telling the truth and said the reason why she didn't vouch for me was because she didn't want things to change between us because at work she was a completely different person, whatever that meant. So after thinking about asking me to apply, she decided to change her mind but couldn't bring herself to tell me that. I was absolutely disgusted. She knew how much my husband and I were struggling and decided to sabotage my chance at getting a job for no real reason. I hung up and blocked her number. It's been nearly a month and we haven't talked yet. However, my husband and her husband are back on speaking terms and my husband wants me to make up with Tori and let it go so that things can go back to how they were. However, I'm not sure if they can. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back. Do I have a right to feel how I feel? Or is it time to move on and let bygones be bygones? I admit that I do miss her, but I feel like I can't trust her anymore. Had she told me the truth from the beginning, I would have been okay. But she lied to my face on multiple occasions. Update. July 22, 2020. Thank you all for your comments and advice. I'm glad to know I wasn't overthinking the situation. I called Tori yesterday and gave her the opportunity to meet up, apologize and explain more in depth. She accepted my offer and we had lunch at a nearby restaurant today. Some of you guessed that the reason that she didn't want me at her job was because she could have been hiding something. That was correct. She told me that she was indeed having an affair with a coworker. I didn't buy it at all. It just didn't make sense because if that was the case, why would she tell her husband that she sabotaged me rather than keep that to herself? Turns out that my husband was pressuring him for answers as well and her husband kept reminding her to ask her boss why I didn't get the job. That's when she told him what she did. She also gave him a completely different explanation of why she didn't want me working there. She showed me months of steamy texts and sexts between her and her coworker, so I knew then that she was telling the truth. I asked her why she didn't just tell me. She said that she was scared that people at her job would ask me questions and it would come out that she's married. The guy at her job that she's been seeing doesn't even know and thinks they are in an exclusive relationship. She said that if I found out about the affair, she was afraid that I'd tell my husband and since our husbands are best friends, he would tell hers. She gets together with her coworker for a few hours after work and on weekends. Apparently, she doesn't even work weekends. Her husband thinks that she is at work all this time. She said that having me work there would ruin things as our schedules wouldn't add up and it would get back to her husband and he would question her about why. I asked her why would she have me apply and say that she would get me in knowing she had no intentions of having me work with her. She said that she didn't think I'd really take her up on her offer as I've made comments before about her work sounding boring and that she was really hoping that if she dragged it out long enough, I'd get tired of waiting and look elsewhere. The million-dollar question that I asked her was, what did you say to your boss to change her mind about offering me the job? She said she told her boss that having me work there would honestly probably just be a distraction and she wouldn't perform her best and that I was known to be lazy and a slacker. Definitely not true. She did offer her sincere apology and said that she felt terrible knowing what all John and I were going through and she didn't help. But I just can't see myself forgiving her or even trusting her again after this situation. Basically, the best friend that I have known all these years has turned into a complete stranger. I feel like I don't even know her anymore. This isn't someone I want in my life. Especially after she caused me to look foolish by badmouthing me to her boss. I told her that our friendship was over and that she'd better have a talk with her husband because no way was I holding this back from mine. A few hours later, my husband got a call from hers. Tori told him the news and they are now separating and he will file for a divorce in the upcoming weeks. Tori is, believe it or not, moving in with her coworker. I haven't heard from her since leaving the restaurant and honestly don't plan on talking to her ever again. Almost 30 years of friendship gone over a string of lies. As for my husband, him and I had a long talk after revealing to me that he already knew what Tori did. I explained to him that it is never okay to keep things like that from me, no matter what. I understand him and Matt have a very good friendship, but me and my feelings should come first in future situations like this. He agreed and will eventually gain my trust back. Edit, just to clear things up, my husband never knew about Tori's affair. All he knew was that Tori sabotaged the job. Also, a lot of you are saying the coworker deserves to know and I agree. I emailed the HR department at her job and requested a meeting with the woman I had a phone interview with. The meeting is Friday and I will tell her then, about Tori's lie and about the affair, and I will let her handle it how she wants to from there. After this, I'm completely done with her. Edit 2. A lot of you think that me talking to her boss is a bad idea. If anything, I probably won't bring up the affair situation, but I do want to bring it to her attention that Tori lied to her. I don't think her boss would appreciate having employees that would easily lie to their face to cover up shady stuff that they've been doing. I may just send her an email with that part of the recording attached and a quick explanation instead of going to meet her. And yes, I recorded our encounter. If I figure out how, I could possibly post it if anyone would be interested in hearing. I honestly don't care if telling her boss is a messed up thing to do. She didn't give a hell about me when she watched me struggle for months and prevented me from getting a job that I desperately needed at the time, so why should I give a hell about her? She's not my friend anymore anyway. She needs to learn that she can't just do whatever she wants with zero consequences, so stop telling me not to say anything relevant comments. I'm very surprised. She has never been like this. I guess people change. Not sure how she pulled off the affair either. I'm guessing her husband knew or had thoughts but figured if he questioned it he'd be forced to face it. He's devastated, but is keeping his distance from us at the moment. I doubt it, but I'm sure things will eventually come to light honestly, and this may sound surprising, but she has never screwed me over in the past. She has always been such a great friend, which is why I'm so hurt about this situation but was hesitant to just sever our friendship. And no, I don't find that insulting. I understood his reasoning, not wanting to be the one to break up our friendship, but I still wish he would have said something. I was still going out for drinks with her the whole time he knew what she did. I feel embarrassed if anything. Commenter, genuinely curious as to why you feel it's appropriate to involve her work? That's her personal life. Yeah, she skunked your stuff up, but the only reason I see you doing this is for revenge. You have a new placement. Move on with your life. Don't blow hers up as you exit. OP, well, I have her confession that she lied to prevent me from getting the job recorded. I honestly doubt anyone would want to have employees that would easily lie to them to cover up shady stuff that they've been doing. Although I may just send her the recording via email with a quick explanation instead of going to meet her. That is the end of the original post, but curiously enough, there is a response post coming from Tori. I'll get to it in just a bit. This new response post basically gave another side of the story and called the first OP a complete liar. So let's get into that now. Response post from Tori: my former best friend posted a Reddit about me in this sub to get sympathy, but it's a complete lie. I actually came across this on Twitter. I gave it a read and noticed that besides the names, the story sounded similar to what happened between me and Megan. I came to Reddit and read the update as well, and it is about me. I am Tori, and I just wanted to clear up a few things. 1. That night at dinner, while she was complaining about not having a job and money, I never told her to apply to mine. I already knew that would have been a bad idea, and not for the reasons she stated. She told me that I was just being cynical and applied anyway and put my name down as a referral. 2. Megan never listens and thinks that she is always right no matter what. My boss did ask me about her and I did nothing but tell the truth. I really didn't think I would be as productive being around her and trying to focus on my job as well. 3. Megan really is a lazy POS, hence the reason why she was depending on my job instead of going out and finding her own. 4. As for the update she posted, what Megan didn't mention was that my husband and I have been separated for 7 months. We were keeping it quiet, but she and her husband both knew. We are living in the same house until my condo is ready, which will be later this year. 5. The coworker that I'm so-called having an affair with is completely updated on my situation and has been the entire time. My soon-to-be ex-husband even knows about him, but I never brought him back to our house out of respect. I can't believe that someone I once called a best friend would stoop so low and have majority of the internet trash talking me when the situation is not what she is making it seem whatsoever. For those of you that took my side, thank you for seeing the bigger picture. Megan, if you're reading this, I hope that gold was worth your dignity in losing not only your best friend, but your only friend. Oh, and BTW, don't bother contacting my boss, I quit this morning. First gold edit, thanks. And that is the end of the story. That's it guys, this is where I will leave you. I hope you enjoyed the stories I had for you. I certainly enjoyed them. Please be sure to drop a like or a comment, and it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and I will see you. Corner Stories signing off.